Hey everybody, Professor Ball here. How's it going? I wanted to talk to you a little bit about paper number 1. So the first thing you want to do is get to the class. And the prompt for paper number 1 is going to be on the calendar for the day it's due. So go to View Calendar. And this is the day it's due, right here. If this is a different semester, I'm doing this for the fall of 18. If this is a different semester, just look for paper number 1 prompt and guidelines. And I've included the information that you need right here. So just click on the prompt, or click on the link. And this is what I'm asking you to do for paper number 1. So I'm asking you to pick a segment on a satire type news show. Last week, Tonight with John Oliver, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, Wyatt Senak's Problem Areas, and I've given you the links. And what I'm going to ask you to do is pick one of their shows, one of their segments, and analyze the argument that the person made on the show. And what you're going to be looking at is what major claims did the host or the journalist make? What are they trying to prove? One thing that you can add in there as well, it's not in the prompt, but in the textbook it talks about different claims. There's claims of policy, there's claims of value. There's another one. I'm pulling up blank right now. Claims of policy, value, and something else. Look in the book. You can also talk about that as well. The second thing you want to address is what type of evidence did he or she use? Was it data or statistics? Was it personal experience? Was it expert witnesses or expert testimony? What was it? Was it effective? Why or why not? And the reason why the reason why we're doing this type of news type of show rather than other types of videos or television shows is because humor plays a major role in the person getting their point across. Excuse me. So I want you to look at is how successful was the use of humor in the segment in furthering the host's argument? Did it help keep the viewer interested? Could it have turned off the viewer? Why or why not? And then the other thing, or the next thing you're going to want to talk about is what could the person have done or taken out to improve their argument? Maybe their language choices. Maybe you don't like it when they swear. And most of the clips, I think they're beeped out or bleeped out. But what could they have added or subtracted to make their argument better or stronger? Now, the last piece, and this is sometimes what people forget when I've done this assignment before, is there is some research involved with this paper. Let me just make sure this is still going. Yes, it is. And if I can get back to it now, hold on one second. Just bear with me 1 minute, because I wanted to take you to the research part of it. But what I'm going to ask you to do, as I have right here, is I'm going to ask you to go to our library's databases, and that'll be on a separate video, and see what else people are saying about the topic. So, for example, you're going to have a clip by John Oliver last week tonight that you're going to be looking at very shortly. And that's going to be talking about how we waste food in this country. So you would go to the databases and you would go to food waste and see what else is happening in the country, maybe the world, about the subject. So these 5 things must be covered to fully answer the prompt. Now, some guidelines. The assignment should have a clear thesis statement that informs the reader about your topic. To help create this main idea, ask yourself, so what? Why is this important, or why is this interesting? If you need a reminder on how to do this, there's a link here to the Writing Commons website and formulating a thesis. And there's a couple other pages here. from the Purdue OWL, which is another source that we're using on writing expository essays. And expository just basically means that the writing is trying to prove something. And you are proving something on how effective the argument was. So there's this as well. I've had a couple questions about paper length already. The paper should be between 3 and 4 pages long, plus a works cited page, which is coming up. And the minimum, and at English 115, you should go beyond 5 paragraphs. I know a lot of people are taught that, to have an introduction, a conclusion, and 3 supporting paragraphs. But with college writing, when you have 8 to 10 page essays, or 10 to 15 pages, or 15 to 20, depending on how far you get, you're going to have more than 5 paragraphs. And the way that I look at it is this. You have your intro, you have your conclusion. Each of these could be a minimum of a paragraph each. So 1 paragraph, another paragraph, and so on. This could be 2 or 3 paragraphs. Maybe the person's making more than one claim. If you have enough to say about the issue, maybe you could have a paragraph on the person's use of personal experience or the person's use of expert interviews or testimony. A lot of times these funny news shows, they will use real news or hard news like an ABC or CBS. This could be a paragraph. So this could be multiple paragraphs. This could be multiple paragraphs. But this is at least 1. This is at least 1. This is at least 1. And sometimes people put this in the little research part after the conclusion. That is not correct, because the conclusion is where you wrap everything up and you conclude. So this is going to be before your conclusion. So just keep that in mind. So I could realistically see 7, 8, 9, 10 paragraphs. And you're thinking, oh my gosh. Well, that's just kind of how it is. Especially if you're going into English 116, it's 5 to 7, 8 to 10. And then for other classes, history, child development, administration of justice, you might have 5 to 7 and 8 to 10 page papers. And that's just the way the world works. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and some instructors will tell you it's okay, but for me and for many others, this is not about you, so there is no I, me, or my. So sometimes people will say, well, what am I going to do? So what sometimes people do is they will say, I think that the host's claim, is blah, blah, blah. All you have to do is get rid of this. The host's claim is blah, blah, blah. I feel that the host used blah, blah, blah to support their ideas. Just the host used, and that's it. So just be aware, you probably already know this, every instructor is going to have their own rules or guidelines. Most of us in English will say no to first person, but there are people who say, oh, no, it's okay in certain circumstances. I already mentioned that you need a minimum of 3 full pages and your works cited page. So it'll be 3 plus 1 with your works cited page, 4 plus 1. And I've given you information here, and I'll talk about that in another video. And one of the readings that you're going to have prior to the paper being due is on the use of quotations. So that is one way to expand and support your essay, is through the use of quotations. So when you say, I think, well, not I, sorry. So when you say the host's claim was blah, 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 that's where a quotation could come in. When you talk about the evidence, that's where a quotation could come in. To illustrate the humor, that's where a quotation could come in. So just be aware of that. If you are on the main campus, or any of the campuses actually, you can go to the academic center and meet with a tutor. If you do this in person, they'll sit with you for about 20 minutes. You go in there with specific questions like, did I answer the prompt? Am I using my quotations correctly? What do you think of my works cited page? That kind of thing. If you go to the writing center, they'll send me proof that you went. They'll email me, and I will add 2.5 points to your paper grade. You can do it through the OWL, which is the Southwestern College Online Writing Lab, where you can submit your paper online, ask your questions, and they will email you back within 2 to 3 business days. So the weekends don't count. So if you send them your work on a Monday, you will hear from them by Wednesday. If you send them work on Wednesday, maybe Friday. The weekends do not count. And you can do this more than once. You can go to the Writing Center twice. You can go submit your work to the OWL twice. And I will add a maximum number of 5 points. I will tell you, let me see if this is it here. There's another place to go, not through Blackboard, so I need to update that. Hold on one second. If you go into Canvas, let's go back to Canvas, and you go to the course. There is also something called e-tutoring, and that is separate from the Southwestern College OWL. So go into the course, and right here under Support Resources, click on that. I think it's under Academic Success Center. You can get information on the Writing Center here. You can get information on the OWL, which is where you can submit your work. But e-tutoring is another place where you can get support and get started with e-tutoring. And just a little side note, no matter what class you are taking on our campus, if you have to write something, the Writing Center will help. But let's just say that you have a paper for biology, or you have a paper for anatomy or physiology. The Writing Center can help, as will e-tutoring. But if you click on e-tutoring, that's okay. Back to safety. Let's see if it'll do it for me now. All right, well, you can figure this one out on your own. I'm really not in the mood to mess with this right now. But these are the databases to help you out. Not databases, these are the links to help you out. So just remember to give yourself a couple days if you do the online writing lab or e-tutoring. And then was there anything else? Oh, I picked some main or popular kind of satire type news shows. If there's another one that you know of, please let me know if you'd like to use it for your paper. I'm probably going to be fine with it. I don't care about what you pick in terms of subject matter. I just want to make sure that it's appropriate for the essay. All right. So this is part 1, just a overview. The next video is going to talk to you about quotations and making sure you're analyzing, not summarizing. And then we'll get into the MLA fun. So stay tuned.